All right, we're here live again. Hey, everybody.
How's it
There's
going?
Carlos with the ClickFunnels logo hat.
Woo!
Hey, guys.
Hey
Awesome.
guys.
We're doing good.
We're back. My name is Andy, and what we're going to do today is we're going to continue with our Build the Business series. We're really excited because all this week we've been talking about how to build an agency. So what we did a couple of weeks ago, we actually started this series a couple of weeks ago with our avatar, Susan. Susan is a pretend person that we made up. We're pretending that we're consulting her and walking her through the journey of starting a business on ClickFunnels 2.0. So a couple of weeks ago, we started her original business where she's offering help to some of the people that are in some of her favorite hobby groups. She's a photographer. She loves doing photography. Hey, Dan, we got another one joining us. And so Susan is now, we're pretending that it's, maybe 6 months later, a year later, maybe less, I don't know. But she wants to take the things to another level, and she is starting an agency business. So all this week we've been diving into some really, really exciting stuff on what will you do if you started an agency? What does it take? What are some of the requirements that you're going to need? How do you deal with your customers? What kind of offers are you going to come up with? If you're interested in learning all of that stuff, just take a look at the replays that we have. In fact, we'll be loading them up into the site really soon. But anyway, let me go ahead and introduce everybody. And we're also going to talk about what you need to do in case you need help with your ClickFunnels account. Hey, Andrea.
Hi.
All right. So again, my name is Andy. We also have Danny Walsh, who's a supervisor. We also have
And
Andrea.
a recent 2 Comic Club winner. Woo woo!
Yeah, congratulations, Danny.
Thank you.
Yeah, always cool to have a new award winner. So congratulations, Danny.
Thank you.
We have Andrea with us, who's also an ambassador. She joined us on Monday and dropped some really good strategy. Yesterday, we had Dan Havey, and Dan's been joining us pretty regularly. So thank you so much, Dan. Dan is also an ambassador, and you're probably going to see his videos in the Facebook group. So make sure you comment and say hello. And if you have any questions, you can always ask any of our ambassadors. All right, lastly, we have Carlos. Carlos is a veteran of ClickFunnels. He's been with us for so long. He started in support and worked his way up. And now he's all over the Facebook group as well. Carlos, what's up, my friend? Can you let people know how they can get help? Because there's lots of different ways to get help in ClickFunnels, right?
Yeah. So the first one is obviously from inside your app. You have access to, search the search bar on 2.0, which will take you to a slew of support documentation that you can also find in help.myclickfunnels.com. That's the 2.0 support center. And for Classic, it's help.clickfunnels.com. So that's the difference is the my before ClickFunnels, right? You can also email us at support@clickfunnels.com. And of course, if we can help, just ask on the group. We're always there, helping people. I actually do a lot of like quick 5-minute Loom videos. Dan is great with Loom videos. He will actually give you custom code, which is awesome. That will get you through things, or he will actually copy and paste in his videos what you need to do and all that. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to get support. And also 2.0 gets chat support, right? So live support with our most experienced agents, which is an awesome fit. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carlos. Well, I think we can, I think it's a good time for us to just jump right in. So, Danny, what do we have for today?
So, thanks, Andy. Everybody for joining us as well. We're trying to be super efficient and have a slide for each show. So we're kind of following on with this agency theme. And Dan, Andrea, awesome to have you here. Carlos, pleasure as always. Andy, it is building momentum, this thing. So I'm super excited. So we've done the kind of a little bit of a recap, talked about our client, Susan, and she's gone from helping folks in a Facebook group to building a little membership site, and then she started offering more and more funnel services. She's kind of been in again this week, looking at this possibility of creating her agency. Andrea was on with Susan Ledinson earlier in the week, and they outlined 3 types of agency model that you could do. And then we've sort of looked at positioning, and we talked about clients and do's and don'ts with Dan and a few other folks yesterday. We're now at this point where she's going for it. She started bringing in clients. She started getting people coming through her funnels. And she's at the point where she's thinking, whoa, this is moving, right? And I want to go from this handful of clients to like major league, right? She's ready for this stuff. So she's really concerned that she doesn't have enough to offer. And we started talking about the value ladder a little bit. And she's like, tell me more. How does she add more to her value ladder, and how does she actually increment as she goes? So this value ladder gives her services she can offer that are increasingly more expensive. And she wants to talk about that a little bit. She wants to talk about outsourcing because she can't do everything on her own. And she wants to make sure that she's actually practicing what she preaches, right? So this is kind of where we're at with it. A little bit about finding the right partner or partners in the agency. So again, it adds value, but it makes sure that Susan's not like overwhelmed with a flurry of clients. And then later on, just before we close, I just want to mention slightly a little bit about potentially enhancing the existing offers and what's on the value ladder, potentially with some other products that Susan doesn't necessarily need to own, touch, deliver in the sort of affiliate scheme of things, right? So that's kind of where she's at, some of the questions that have been tabled. And it'd be great to throw these out to the floor. I can see Andrea's nodding. Hopefully this fits. But the value ladder and like the products that are offered by an agency, this can potentially go on forever, right? As you get bigger and better and stronger and more capable of what you're doing. But just for folks who might be watching, like, what is the relevance of that? Is it relevant at all? Is it something that you really need to look at? Is it the right time to be discussing this? What's everybody's thoughts? It'd be great to hear them.
I'm just laughing because each one of those, I'm like, oh my gosh, that took me like a year to figure out. Yeah. So it's I don't think that traditional way that we look at value ladder necessarily applies to an agency model. I think that there's a big difference between your business model and your service model. And as an agency, getting really clear about what your business model is, AKA, how do you generate revenue? What is the payment arrangements that you make available to your clients? And maybe what are the payment tiers, right, that you're working in? And then your service model is, I think, then, and they go hand in hand, right? Your service model then will determine, to your point, Danny, and the like infrastructure building and the capacity that you have to do it. And it's like these two sides of the same coin, right? So again, going back to, if you're the type of agency that is, let's say the order taker agency, right? Then you could probably handle a lot of volume, right? And so like your price point, your tiers might be a little bit more clean cut and simple, because it's like, I do the things in this box, right? And it's super, super carved out and niche because they're coming in and taking an order, bada bing, bada boom, you're fulfilling, right? And then it is just a matter of like building people who can do that exact same thing, right? And turning and going. Versus like if you're in a co-creation model, like what we do in Geek Out, the service model can go very deep because we want to understand the business and we want to be involved in the business a little bit deeper. And so there has to be room for all of the 101 things that you cannot plan, right? And so we need to allow ourselves more capacity and time to be able to be there with clients to do that. So then our business model, we have to have price tiers that we know are like right now are stratified, right? We have the super high paying packages that we know are going to take more of our time from a service model standpoint. And then we have our quick, what we call entry level projects that are like middle of the road price point, but they're more scoped. And so we know that we can take, 10 of the entry level and only 2 of the big guys because our service model. So I think the value ladder to me doesn't make as much sense when I'm thinking about an agency. It's more about what is my service model based on the agency I want to run? What is the business model based on the money I want to make? And do those actually fit? And then let's run with that. Yeah.
Kind of makes sense.
Well, what I would add to that is the 30,000 foot view, which is the marketing of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were discussing yesterday, is if Susan, in this case, our avatar, is absolutely brand new, she just got into this business a while ago. I forget what her product was, but it doesn't really matter. So she wants to start an agency. Well, how does she start an agency? And this kind of goes to the value ladder in many ways, is she's got to get some at-bats. She has to work with some people. And how do you get working with people? Is normally you have to do it free. The first time, second time, third time, maybe. You have to get your chops. You got to learn what you're doing. You got to do basic things like figure out a basic contract. You got to figure out everything soup to nuts as a single individual. That's normally how you're going to start out, is as a single individual. And then one thing down on the list further was partners and people you're working with. And those come in later. But most people don't start an agency with 10 people already in place. Susan, in our case here, she's starting by herself. So she has to figure out not only who does she want to work with, but what she wants to do. Well, how do you do that? You do it by getting a customer, you work for them for free, and then you go, okay, I liked this bit, I hated this part. And then you do it again, and you go, okay, I liked this part, I hated this part. Well, guess what? The hated parts, that's where you got to find somebody else to do that. Because with Andrea and Susan and Nicole and I, when we worked together very well. And this team kind of came together mostly because of Andrea, I would guess, over time. But it came together because none of us are good at all these things. You just can't be. I mean, I'm actually a pretty good copywriter, but I don't do any of the copywriting for our stuff. But I do coding. I build some of the sites and stuff like that. But I'm also not great at the design. I can't figure out how to run Photoshop to save my life. I mean, I have to, every time I got to do something in there, I got to Google it first and walk through the instructions. So, that's the process you have to go through. It's not like, okay, we're just going to start here. And Andrea got it right. She's got the big picture, all that stuff. But this is somebody coming straight in off the street going, okay, what's the first thing I do? Well, the first thing you do is you take on one customer and you see what happens. Because you may find, oh, man, I hate this agency thing. And then you go do something else. But you got to get a customer first in order to do that. And usually that means working for free.
Yeah. And I think the way the value ladder fits in the agency model is the services you will be adding, right? It can be one step at a time, adding a service. Like, for example, let's say Susan got really good at generating traffic and converting, right? So she's more on the marketing strategy side of things. So she offers, a strategy, free strategy sessions to start getting, her shops, like Dan was saying. And then, okay, I did a strategy session. I sold my first consulting. So I guess I have a consulting agency right now, right? It's not a traffic agency. It's not a full-on marketing agency. It's a consulting agency for marketing strategy. And then her clients will start asking for, okay, now we got the funnel, now the strategy. I need traffic. Come on, help me with that, right? Oh, now I have to go and get, a partner that is good on that thing, right? On, getting the right amount of traffic for the strategy to convert, right? Or getting it from, Facebook or YouTube or TikTok or whatever, right? So I guess what I see the ladder in the agency is that one service first, and then adding another service, and then you start building your team and your outsourcers and whatever you need to do. But that's how I picture an agency starting for Susan. Like, I am a consultant first, or I am a traffic girl first, or I am, whatever specialized, right? So I always go back to, you have to be really, really proficient in something and be an expert before trying to sell it, right? Because we actually get in the Facebook group, and it's like I kind of find it funny, but it's really interesting, really, that hey, I sold my first big client, I need help, and I'm like, come
Oh
on,
no.
please.
What do
Yeah,
I
like, oh.
What have I got
Like I
myself
would
into?
say, yeah, yeah,
Squeeze it.
right. Yeah. So that's how I see the value ladder in an agency. Like if we put things over things, yeah.
Yeah, really good points. And I just wanted to add that, yeah, you do need to focus on one thing, and everybody's got strengths and weaknesses, right? We're all good at some things because our brain just is attracted to that. And then there's other things where we might need help or Google, right? so, so there's definitely times when you make plans and you can do most of the stuff, but then you need to outsource or get some help. Another thing I wanted to mention is that sometimes you start your business, you get started, and you stumble upon another niche accidentally, right? Susan, our avatar, she's in the group where she's into photography and she's teaching photographers how to get online, and it's specifically macro photography, right? Which is a really small niche. Most people like portrait photography or landscape. But then guess what? Maybe she has some kids in soccer, and the soccer coach asks her, "Hey, Susan, can you take pictures of the team?" Right? And then all of a sudden now she's doing portraits. And maybe she wasn't good at it at first, but she's got this assistant. So yeah, there's definitely times when you might stumble into a different niche, or even sometimes you might think that you have the right niche, but then there's people pulling you from the other side, right? So I think it's really important to have your eyes open and just be aware of other opportunities as well.
And I would say on that same note, though, Andy, I would say definitely have your eyes open, take advantage of the opportunities, but then if you need to kill the baby, kill the baby. And what I mean by that is, so when
Yes.
I was first starting, right, I could make somebody a great funnel, and Dan and I can make pretty amazing membership sites. But it doesn't matter how great our funnel and our membership site is. If you don't have a traffic strategy, then a conversion on zero is zero. So it's like, I can't do. So I kept hitting this problem again and again with my clients. And frankly, I didn't like traffic. I knew I didn't want to get into paid ads. I did a little foyer in that world, and I'm like, nope, I'm out. That's not what my brain and my heart love. So I was like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. So, but I kept hitting this traffic problem, right? And so then lo and behold, I had a team of designers at the time who were all really into social, right? It was like, I'm learning Instagram, I'm learning Pinterest, I'm learning, like, how do we be social content people? And I'm like, all right, I'm going to ride the wave. My team is interested. We have the skill set. I invested in, this massive tool for social media management for agencies, right? Because I'm like, we do it. Like, how hard can this really be, right? So we dove head first, and we're like, okay, we're going to publish on every single social platform because this tool allows us to do it. We have amazing analytics. We have graphics for every platform. We have a way to convert it. I have a videographer. Like, we can do this, no problem. So we started, like, we had a system. I had Airtable intake so that the clients were out there shooting the content. We easily converted it into social. Like, I had a copywriter that went in and came to the post. Like, we had the whole system down, right? And it was sucking the ever loving life out of me. I hated every minute of it, like all of the management of it, like no matter how good the system was, the payment and like what I could get from a price point from clients. I couldn't prove the KPI, even though I thought I had like the best possible analytics system we could ever buy and use. And so it was Sprout Social for anybody who's interested. But and it was like, I was like, so I think we took on 4 clients, right? And I could get them in the door, but then again, like just the day-to-day work of it and all of the effort that was needed for what I thought was very little return for both the client and for ourselves. And I was like, I know, like, abort. This can't be it. And so it was like and it was painful. It took us probably a good 6 months to get out of those relationships, because like we're so deeply embedded, right? Like to get out of the relationships, to get out of the contract, to get out of the business. And I still had the problem of, I don't know how to help my clients with organic traffic. Later, I have found an amazing solution and we figured it out. But I think had I not had that excruciatingly painful experience of trying to do the service, I don't think I would have landed in the service that we currently offer and the understanding of what we currently offer. So I would say, yes, follow it. Yes, do it. Do it in small numbers at first and be ready to abort mission if it doesn't work, and pivot.
Without a doubt. And there's some stuff that comes to mind from all of this, is that quite often you can, like Andy said, have this kind of like accidentally stumble into this other niche, and you could meet somebody, I don't know, you meet them, you know, maybe it's like you said, you kids are playing soccer or whatever it is, or you're at a bar and you talk to somebody, and you get into this idea because you live and breathe marketing, or you live and breathe your agency stuff, and somebody tells you what they do, and you go, I can do that for you. And then you're like, Monday, oh, now I realize that the magnet, and you can accidentally recreate the value ladder for one person, just like there and then. And it's like, I've just invented this concept for that person's business without knowing anything about the inner workings of that business. And I've made a big guarantee that my thing that I know is working with my clients will work for them. And that is not a fun place to be, because it's so hard to, like Andrea said, unravel and actually press like where even is the abort button, because it's harder to dismantle something than set it up. And I think often as business owners, we're so energetic and so excited about things. Andrea just said it's easy to get them in the door, right? But once they're in the door, you've got to be able to do all of that stuff that you laid claim to. And I think this is why we you know, you learn. I think exactly what you've just said. You've got to experience some of that yourself. There's nothing wrong in doing it, but once you soon realize, man, I need to like stop doing that thing. I need to stop roping people in and making these offers, because that isn't our core business. Right. And if you carry on down that route, you're either going to go insane, hate your business, or shut down. And nobody wants that, right? So you know, I know that from experience, but I'm also listening to you guys thinking, yeah, Susan doesn't want to be going down that road, and you really try and need to stick to what it is that you do. And I think that's kind of like, you know, the value ladder is kind of, you know, important. And I think we need to make sure that our Susan understands exactly what her offer is and how to offer it and stick to that, but also having those experiences, I think is crucial, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, as we discussed yesterday, I think it was, we you know, the whole concept of when somebody sees you as an expert, they see you as an expert in everything. And I just recently had somebody, you know, I'm relatively decent at hacking some stuff inside of ClickFunnels. I had a woman come in to me the other day and asked me if I could build a gaming app for her. And I was like, I wouldn't know the first thing to do to build a gaming app. But, you know, I'm almost 60 years old now, and I learned that one of the most important words in business is no. Because it takes you off of what you are. If you have a set designed business and you have a set value ladder and you know what you are good at and what you are not good at, and most people should learn that very quickly, then you learn to say no. And you just go, no, I'm not going to do that. But doesn't mean you can't refer them to somebody else. You can't help them a little bit. You don't want to just discard them because, I mean, they're human beings like all the rest of us. But don't reinvent who you are. Do not reinvent your business to help one customer who in the end, you're probably not going to do that great of a job with anyway. And it made me think of the old quote. I mean, I've heard it attributed to Ben Franklin, but who knows where it came from. It's basically avoid costly entanglements. And Andrea found out the hard way what happens when you decide to get involved with some entanglements where you should not have gone. And great, you get to learn a whole lot. You get to tell a great story. You get to get up on stage at Funnel Hacking Live and tell everybody about it. And it's great. We all laugh and cry. But it's also a time suck. And you can't get that time back. And you could have been doing something else and growing your business while you were wasting your time on that single thing.
It's really funny because that always happens to me in real life. Like this marketing life for me is like a parallel universe, right? And in real life, when I get with friends or with someone who I haven't seen in a long time or something, oh yeah, and I'm doing this business, and my marketing switch is, you can do this and that. Oh, you can help me, and then, oh shoot, I
didn't say
should have said that. Why did I say that? Like it's really pricey. Like, it's gonna take time, and you're really too busy for that. And I go back to Monday's talk when Andrea was here, and she was talking about scope, right? The value ladder, it's also the scope of what you can do, right? We can do some stuff to make the value ladder fit in this. So that scope is, we can help you with this to get you here, and here, and that's it, right? So it's really important to have your value ladder set and your scope. Okay, this is all I do, even though it can be 120 things in the marketing world. We do these 20, but we're the best at it, right?
Well, just to stay on the issue of scope, you also have to think about it as an individual project. So you're talking with a customer, you agree, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for $5,000. Well, then you get mission creep. And they're like, oh, but could you also, and could you also, and could you also, and you have to also remember, does it go outside of the box that you feel comfortable working in? That's number one. And every time there's an also, you go, and I also need more money. Because when you're pricing a project, you have to look at it to some degree and go, okay, it's going to be this many hours, and I'm going to have to bring in this person and this person and this person, and it's going to cost money for those 3 people. Well, okay, now this also, how much more time is that going to take? Who else are you going to have to get involved? Are you going to have to research things? You're going to have to buy software. You have to look at all these things. And so don't let that scope grow unless there's more money coming into your pocket and you want to do it and it's within your wheelhouse.
Real important. And I think if you're watching this, Winter Jones is on saying what a good-looking crew of peoples. Big shout
miss
to
you, Winter.
Madison's on as well. A few other folks watching. But I think anybody starting out in any kind of business, I wish I wish Dan would have just said this stuff to me, years ago. It's like, just
I never done this years ago.
Yeah, it's like so important. And I guess where we kind of landed with this is perfect because we are sort of moving into these next points on our slide, right? Because you mentioned just now, Dan, about hiring a bunch of people to do certain things. And I guess that comes down to outsourcing some of the work. Otherwise, you're never going to sleep. You're never going to see your family. You're going to be at the computer every day. You'll be researching stuff until like the cows come home and for longer. And at some point, you're going to realize, man, I can't actually do the thing the customers just like crept into this project and I'm not even getting paid for it. And you're going to hate what you do, right? So outsourcing, after you've made sure you've got the right deal in place and you've signed the contract, so you make sure that you know exactly what you're doing and how much you're going to get paid. But at some point, you are going to have to get other people to help you just for a little bit, right? You're not hiring a full-time staff member, but you need maybe a designer, maybe you need an ads. I don't know. Well, talk to us a little bit about the importance of being able to outsource some of the work.
So I think for me, outsourcing has been the number one reason why I've even been able to do my agency. So the very first outsourcing that I ever did, and outsourcing is a funny word because I think in our heads, we think, oh, I'm going to go hire somebody and they're going to do a task and then be done, right? I think that's what a lot of us have in our head when we think outsourcing. I'm going to encourage you to have a little bit of a different understanding of it, especially when you're young agency. you need something that's a little bit more steady that you can count on, because your company is still pretty volatile, right? Like, because you're still trying to figure it out. And so it's really hard, I think, to work with like non-stable outsourcing options, because you're still working on stability. So the very first one that I ever did was, I knew that with integrity, if I was going to serve a ClickFunnels client, I knew that my technical aptitude in ClickFunnels at the time I started was not at a level that I would want to serve with integrity, right? So I joined the 2CCX program. The number one reason I joined the 2CCX program was for just, that's where all my people came from. The number two reason was because they allowed me to ask my technical clients about my client's account because I was a 2CCX member. And Sarah, she used to be a part of the 2CX program, advocated for me to be able to do that. And so technically, the ClickFunnels support team was my outsource team when I very first got started, because I decided to pay for the 2CCX program so that I could get the support I knew that my clients were going to run into and I did not yet know the answer to. And so that was, to me, one of the best decisions and best investments I ever made, because it was a twofer, right? I got my marketing, because that's my community. That's who I serve. And those are my people, right? And that's who was like referring and helping me. And I got access to additional support that extended to my clients. And it was like, it was, again, the best decision I think I ever made in my entire life with respect to my agency, because
Well,
I had that.
Carlos is shaking his head because he's having flashbacks.
Probably. It was
You
funny.
are
I
that,
literally-
Andrea.
I
You are
literally was
that.
on the call every day with support, probably 4 times a day. Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't get like
I'm
blackballed.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I helped you like 100 times or so, with different, very varied issues. But yeah, no, that's honestly, that's a great way. You know, it's a little bit of a segue of what you get when you go all in. You know, in something, right? In your case, well, it was extra support and marketing, and you grew and grew and grew, and you know, you're now at a stage where you are in the stage, right? And to me, that's, you know, you pay whatever monthly to have that, and you 10x that easily, right? From that investment alone. So also what you were saying is you have to be really aware of what you can do. That's why I think I have repeated myself a couple of times through the week, but you have to pinpoint your first expertise and what you can do, because if not, it's gonna be hard for you and for your customers. And you know, that thing you said, that you have to serve. What was the word you used, Andrea?
The service model?
Ethically, right?
Oh, yeah, with
Ethically.
integrity.
No.
Yeah, with
With
integrity.
integrity.
Yeah.
Ethically and with integrity.
Yeah.
Because if you don't really know what you're doing, you're messing with other people's business and dreams, and you can, you know, shatter those. And it's a harsh reality, but it is something that that can happen, right? And has happened.
And I think it's okay to step into the not knowing, right? And still offer the service, but you better have a support system or an outsourced system.
Mm-hmm.
You can stand by that, right? Like, so you have to
Right,
believe in
right.
the system and your capacity to be able to do that in order to
Right.
serve with integrity, in my opinion. And for me, that was customer support through my GCX investment. And that was it. Like, I'm telling you, I am so surprised they still like me, because I mean, because I was that annoying customer that I was like, I don't want you just to fix it. I need you to teach me, like, why is the infrastructure this way? And like, why did you guys decide to do it this way? And like, I have to understand. And so, but they were so great.
Yeah, and we actually love helping, because that means that you can solve it next time, right? It's the same thing you should do with your customers, right?
Yeah.
You help them with the marketing, and hey, here's how I thought about this. Here's how it worked out. Now you can do it, and then you can offboard your customers, right?
Yes.
Because that's a really important thing that I don't think we haven't touched. It's how to offboard your customer, right? Okay, we're done. Good luck, Godspeed, much success. See ya, right?
Yeah.
because they will keep coming back to you. And
Oh yeah.
what Dan was having, and can you help me with this and this and this? And but they don't say how much will it be, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then,
The first question is never, how much will you charge me to do something?
Right.
It's, can you do this for me?
yeah.
Right.
Well, can you write me a check first? And
Right.
and the reality is, obviously, well, actually, you could say it to them that way if you wanted to. I probably would, but
It works.
the truth is, yeah, I mean, they suddenly think that they're going to move into your house. So you do a project for them, and they're standing there at the kitchen counter with a plate and bowl, a plate in their hand and a spoon, and going, eating. And you're like, no, that's not how this works. This is a business arrangement, just like you go to your office, you work for your 8 hours. At the end of the week, hopefully your boss pays you for doing it. This is the exact same way. And I'm thinking, as Carlos was talking there, is we got people who may want to be moving into the agency world who have a very, limited skill set, and that's fine. But you have to understand that there are so many other things. So what are the other 100 things that you also have to be able to help your client with? Because as we said earlier, they're going to see you as an expert in everything. So you may be a fantastic funnel builder. So you build this funnel for somebody. Well, what's the problem you just created for them? You created a problem that they need traffic. Now, at that point there, do you just completely cut them loose? Or do you find them somebody that can help with the traffic? Do you partner with somebody who does the traffic? Do you have somebody you outsource them to who pays you a commission for that outsourcing? These are all things. And it's not just the traffic, because you may be great at building inside of ClickFunnels, but are you great at the copy? And sure, we all got Chat GPT, but frankly, it kind of puts out garbage when it comes to an actual full-blown sales letters. And what else do they need? They need graphics. So who do you have that you can turn to do graphics? Or are you going to learn how to do the graphics all by yourself? So you're an expert in copywriting, and you're an expert in how to use Photoshop and now Midjourney. And then you're an expert in figuring out your Chat GPT prompts. And then you're also enough of an expert in copywriting that you know what the copywriting should look like when you're done. And should I just keep going? So those are all things that people have to understand going into this. You may have a very small skill set, but you have to understand all these other things and how to put them together to create the package that ultimately becomes the funnel itself.
I'll say one more thing on the outsourcing, and that's a good of like just taking an inventory of your skill set, like Dan said. Making sure that you have the most critical need first. So in my case, it was I knew I needed technical support if I was going to be a funnel building agency. But then the next thing was, I think that as agency owners, or in our case of Susan, right? I think that ultimately, we talked about this on Monday, that we have this innate desire to serve, and we're more fulfillment oriented, and we might not be as good at acquisition understanding, right? And like the dance with clients, because it is at the end of the day a relationship business. And we're all just crazy humans with our crazy issues, and we're gonna bump into them when we work together, right? And so I think there is this element of relationship management and being able to navigate those really sometimes difficult conversations. So the very next person that came on my team was somebody who she was a phenomenal designer and funnel builder, but she didn't necessarily really appreciate or like the strategy and the client management part of the equation. And so I was like, we do have complementary skill sets in terms of funnel building, but she's a way better designer. She builds faster than I do, and she wants nothing to do with client management or strategy. She just wants to be a great funnel designer and builder. So we found each other in a shared community, the design hacking community that we're in. And it was kind of like, and so it was one more of, as an agency owner, I was like, okay, I know I have that skill set of being able to do the client management aspect of it. And I love the strategy part. I think I could give up some of the funnel building because I know it well enough to serve with integrity, let her go and do that. And it was that marriage that was, again, another like ClickFunnels 2 CCX investment was like a spike, it was then bringing her onto the team. And this is Nicole Kuntz, now part of our Geek Out group. That was the second part. And so we were able to run for at least a year and a half with really just her and I. And then we brought in a couple people here and there, but it was pretty much, we were the core, and we had an agreement right away where like, I had this role for the agency, she had this role, and we could just then run. And that was, I think, when we think about outsourcing again, she was willing to come with me in the ups and the downs of the business, right? Where it's like, hey, I'm going to try to consistently pay you every month this amount, but I'm still in early stages of my agency. So no, like we might have a rough month or we might have a great month, but like there's going to be some bumps. And she was willing to go along for the ride because, she wanted to grow together. And that was huge. Instead of me just finding random designers along the way and paying them, right? We were able to build something together because she was willing to go with me on the bumps. So that would be my next recommendation to Susan of, find your immediate need, but then find your stability person, the person that's going to help you grow.
Well, and we've been talking a lot here about the customer satisfaction side of the equation here, but we haven't really talked about what the avatar needs to know about the customer acquisition side of it as well. How does this person even get the business in the first place? And then there's other aspects that have to be looked at is, okay, depending on where you live, where you are, what kind of legal entities might you need, what kind of contracts might you need, even things as like setting up payment gateways, things like that. I mean, all these things have to be brought into the equation, and, taxation, all that. I mean, so there's about a million different things that somebody has to look at going into this. Now, do you have to solve all of them on day one? The answer is no. Do you have to solve all of them before you get your first customer? The answer is no. Because again, you're serving first, probably for free or very cheap. You're serving a couple people just so you can learn how to build your business.
Really useful stuff, and it resonates because I've done a bunch of these things, and I think the things you're saying about like the dance with clients, the ability to say no. Actually, how do you acquire the customer? There's, like you said, there's a gazillion ways to do that. But if you're starting off small and you're giving value and you're helping people for free, but I think it does kind of again link nicely, Andy, and jump in if you will, on the importance of kind of practicing a little bit what you actually preach as well, because we know that, for example, ClickFunnels uses ClickFunnels, right? So that's an example of a company using its own thing. Mm-hmm. And if you're an agency that does funnels, one would kind of expect that you use them at some point in your business. And personally, I found that people trying to sell something that they don't use, they don't do a very good job of it. And you look at that in affiliate marketing, right? Somebody pops up and goes, hey, buy this thing, it's awesome, but they don't actually use it. Oh man, how did that go? But practicing what you sort of your own methods, I think is kind of important. And I know we've kind of talked a little bit about the partnerships and bringing in the right people as well. So we are kind of melded in through these next few points. But there are a lot of different elements. What advice would we give about making sure that you are practicing what you preach to a degree? What's your thoughts on that, you guys?
Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer because you want your client to have the best type of platform, right? Because you want them to have if you are good at ClickFunnels 2.0, then you want to make sure that they have the platform that you have so that you can max out your effectiveness. So and the cool thing is that ClickFunnels 2.0 does have an affiliate program, so you might as well. It's a win-win for everybody. I know that next week we're actually going to talk more about using your affiliate business, your affiliation with ClickFunnels 2.0 to make another type of income along with your agency business. So yeah, you definitely want to use some of the tools that you specialize in, recommend them, and make sure that your client has access to the best type of tools.
Without a doubt. And very important, for example, Andrew, you mentioned earlier, and Dan, the membership sites and things that you do. And you look at your stuff and you use memberships in your business. You talk a lot about the customer journey, and would you believe it, you use these in your business, right? And talk to me a little bit more about that. And maybe we are going to lead into this sort of concept of enhancing the offer with affiliate products. I think we are kind of painting the full picture for our client. And whether she runs out the door like this ain't the time at the end of this, or she's like, I'm all in, it's entirely up to Susan, right? But I'm seeing the value of this and I'm seeing the full picture. Where are we going?
I think it's really important, actually, and this circles back to Dan. And I got to give a shout out to Jim too. He's doing a great job of this. And that is your traffic strategy. I'm a big believer in pay to play. I'm a big believer in get in the room and network, but that plays to my strengths. And so that's how word of mouth and those investments have been able to help me with my traffic. But I think that on this note of using your platform, you can kill two birds with one stone by I think YouTube is one of the best sources out there for you to get traffic and for people to find you. And using any kind of ClickFunnels keyword is hot. Like, you will pop up in search engines on YouTube if you do that. And so I think by shooting content and talking about your use of the product and how you use it, or even just telling your clients stories and what you've been able to do for them, I think is huge in terms of operating from integrity, using the product, but also in your traffic strategy of showing what you know and talk about it and demonstrating it. So I think that it feeds on itself, right? In terms of being able to grow and build. And I think if you're not in the product that you're building in or you're working in at least like 10 times a day, then you are not doing it right. I think you just, it should be the thing that you live and breathe every day, right? Because it's the thing that you are serving and what you're doing for your clients. And so, and you have to be in it in order to really serve in the most capacity.
Yeah, depending on the service that you're offering as your avatar here, you're right. I mean, you have to be seen as an expert somehow. So if what you're selling is building ClickFunnels sites, you're right. You better be putting out something that makes you appear to be some sort of an expert in some way of building funnels. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be the expert on the one who's doing the coding, who's building the site. You don't necessarily have to be an expert on the copywriting and all the other things, but you better be an expert on something regarding the funnel process, and you better be able to enunciate that and talk about it. Now, you look at somebody like Russell Brunson. Obviously, the man is the absolute expert when it comes to marketing strategies and things like that. But I doubt if he knows how to use paint, or he probably. Actually, I think he's probably a really good copywriter, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of tools that he's not going to know how to use very well. And that's why he can outsource that and hire other people to bring in. But he is clearly the expert. He's clearly putting his message out to the marketplace 1,000 different ways about his expertise in marketing. So if you're building something regarding the photography business, you better be putting stuff out there to the world to show that you're an expert in photography. If you're doing this macro photography thing, you better be showing you know how to do it. You better be able to show the results. Here are the pictures that I have taken. And prove that to the world, because nobody's going to knock down your door begging you to help them if they don't think you're an expert at it.
Yeah, and that's why your agency can be like transplanting your business into someone else's, right? Like, for example, if you have a course, your value ladder or your linchpin. Let's talk about linchpin, right? Your linchpin. Your entry level your linchpin one is the community, a paid community, right? which you have a MIFGI of, a most incredible free gift ever about like an entire course on macro photography, and then you have like a live conference every twice per year, and then you have a mastermind where you go around the world and doing photography, right? And my agency can get you, the bit of the get clients getting stuff for your photography locally, right? And that's it. And I just, you know, share my funnel to your account. You get the ClickFunnels account. I share my funnel to your account. Let's set your emails. And that's it. And that's my agency, right? It doesn't have like to be because you think agency and just like, for example, in my mind, it's an office with 10 people there,
Yeah.
right? But it, like, going back to what Andrea said on the first day, it can be a one-man agency, and what you sell, it can be a couple of clicks, as easy as that. And outsourcing design and logo design, or whatever, to someone else. But that very well, you can very well charge 5-10 grand for that, because you can, like Dan is saying, you can say and you can express how the value of paying that, what is the missing cost opportunity, right? What is costing you not having this site, right? Well, I make 100 grand off of this part of the linchpin, which is my local, getting my local courses, right? So I teach you how to do it, and I teach you how to teach it. Now you can have this side business, and you turn this into your new opportunity, right? Like in the book, in the blue one, Expert Secrets, right? What is a new opportunity? So an agency can be just that. You don't have to think about, this is a full marketing agency. If you're specialized in photography, it can be like an agency for photographers, right? So yeah, that's my ending speech on this.
Yeah.
So
Well
good.
said.
So good. So good. So look, we've killed time on these because there's so much value and it's so good to listen to, and we value everybody's time. We kind of went through that sort of partnership a little bit and talked about, the importance of finding the right folks. And this is not going to happen overnight, right? And once you get the right folks, you can take your agency to that next level, and you can keep adding your services, your offers, and grow as big as you like. But if you follow the guidance that everybody's kind of set out over these last 4 days, you should have a real good understanding of not only what to do, but some of the things not to do, some of the pitfalls. And this little training alone, whatever it is, 4 hours of your time to watch this, could potentially not only save you a big bunch of stress and effort and doing things wrong, save you a bunch of money, but also position you in the right way to go out there and get it right from the get-go. And it's so interesting to listen to these things and think, yeah, been there, done that. We don't want folks to make too many mistakes, and I think the learning that we're getting from this is amazing. And like Carlos just said, you can literally be on your own delivering that very specialist service and do that for as long as you like. And you don't need to scale any further than that. You just need to keep rinsing and repeating this thing. You collect your money, you say goodbye to the client once it's done, and you keep moving. So you can make this, from what I'm gathering, you can make this as your own custom agency that serves your needs as much as it serves your clients' needs, right?
100%. Yep, 100%. But in order to do that, I think you have to know yourself and how you want to serve first. That's the only way you can make that decision. And so I would say just keep leaning into that with every project and trying to understand that.
Great advice. We are moving, but we're also running out of time this week. Andy, it's been amazing. I've learned a lot of stuff this week, right? Where are we going from this point?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, exactly. I learned like a ton. I'm just captivated by all the little tips and things that our ambassadors have been sharing. So thank you so much. And I'm kind of bummed because it's over, right? This the training, the actual training that we did for this week, we've kind of come to the end now. But the good thing is that tomorrow we're going to get together again. All of the ambassadors have been invited, and we're going to do a Q&A and a recap. So actually, if you want to jump in, and anybody that has comments, remember that anytime we're live, you can always drop comments into the comment area. And if you have any questions, or if you want to do something like Winter and say what a good looking crew of peoples, that's going to be awesome. So thank you. But yeah, I hope everybody can join us tomorrow. We're going to do a Q&A. We're going to continue talking about this same topic, but we're going to kind of let it naturally flow and answer any questions that we might come in. So yeah, I hope everybody can join us tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And going forward, we've just had a message from the guys in the affiliate team. And next week, we are going to be enhancing our offer with some affiliate products. And Susan's at a point where she's ready to get her own 2 Comma Club award, right? She's like, whoa, I've been working this whole year, and it's finally coming together. None of this would have been possible, certainly for me, without ClickFunnels. And I know you guys, Andrea, what you were saying just about tapping into the support, down the fact that we're building in this thing day in, day out. The ClickFunnels is certainly the way to move forward. And when we unlock the ClickFunnels affiliate program and all of the other goodies that are maybe that folks have not even seen or they don't even know about yet, I think this is a fully rounded business. And look, in the 3 weeks, what we do is like 15 hours, right? 15 hours is not a great deal of time to spend to consume the stuff that we've covered across 3 weekly sessions. And you go out there and, read the books, get your ClickFunnels account, and start making stuff happen. It's like, I'm excited.
Yep. It's a great community to be a part of. Do it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Any closing remarks before we wrap up today, folks? Because, like Carlos, I'm out. I'm just ready to go and do some stuff, ready to build some funnels, right?
Let's do it. Let's go. Oh, and I know Danny, he plays it a little bit modest, but if you guys are participating in that contest, when you land on it, just take a little look at the URL. That's all I got to say. Pretty amazing. Danny is amazing.
Say no more. We will continue to play it down. Ishmael's joining us. He's here. Just a student learning with the looks of it. So you're welcome. Come learn. Watch the replays. They're all in the feature section of the group, right? And Carlos, we're working some magic to get all of this stuff up on their own landing pages as well. So you can come on there, you can watch each series. And Carlos is working on some notes and little workbooks that accompany this stuff. And who knows where this may go. And if folks have got any suggestions, Andy, for things they might want to see in the future, we're all ears, right? So, yes.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. If we could get some feedback, if there's something that you would like to see, we would love to hear about that and get started on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think from all of us, thank you, everybody, so much. And we'll be back again tomorrow.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.